Hi, I'm Poe. I'm really glad that I took INDG 3102 this summer. I have enjoyed and learned so much along the journey of this course that I would recommend it to anyone. The following is an interview explaining my course story. Enjoy!
How have your perceptions of Indigenous images in contemporary media changed?
My perceptions changed a lot. Many of my views about Indigenous people were influenced by the media. Even though I never believed that Indigenous peoples were uncivilized, I did believe that every tribe had an Indian princess and wore headdresses. Now I know that many of my views were incorrect, which helped me rewrite my personal story.
How has this course altered your personal story?
I lived a whitewashed life, and it seems the media did no different. My grandfather and his family were so afraid of persecution that they lived with the secret that they were Indigenous. The media has seemingly erased Aboriginal truth, and I can't think of how I lived any different. This course has illustrated to me that I am not alone, and that I can be proud to express my identity.
Before taking this course, did you ever wonder where Aboriginal people were in the media?
Embarrassingly, it never crossed my mind. I've always known that in the media most of the actors are white or black, but it was not until I took this course that I started to realize the degree of Indigenous under- and misrepresentation in the media, like how Hollywood uses stereotypes when representing Indigenous peoples.
What Indigenous stereotypes have you noticed in the media?
The main stereotypes that I've noticed are the uncivilized savage, the threatening warrior, the wild Indian princess, and the squaw, a powerless housewife. These stereotypes upset me because they wrongly represent Indigenous people. Since historical literature claims that they are welcoming, live in harmony, never had princesses, and the women are powerful.
Regarding the identity of popular Aboriginal performers, did anything surprise you?
Absolutely. I found out that many of the actors who I thought were Indigenous are not, like Joanna Bacalso, the main actress from Snow Dogs, who I thought was Inuit but is actually Filipino, like another actor, Lou Diamond Phillips, from the 1988 film Young Guns, who I thought was a Mexican Indian because of his role.
Were there any other things that surprised you?
Well, I'm very surprised at how unaware I must have been for many years of my life, since I never really noticed the degree of Indigenous under- and misrepresentation. I actually bought into some of the stereotypes that are portrayed in the media, so I was surprised to find out that many of these representations were incorrect.
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel quite embarrassed. I feel like as an Indigenous woman, they should have been things I realized and was critical of so many years ago, but I honestly never clued in.
What do you think contributed to this lack of awareness?
I think my schooling did. My teachers left out a lot of truthful information about Canadian history. The only things I remember learning related to Indigenous people was about them hundreds of years ago. But today's people and how they were and are treated unethically was ignored.
Out of the assignments in this course, what were your favorites?
One of my favorite assignments was infomercial number C, That's a Rap, because I could sing, which I love doing, and I wrote a relatable rap that I think tells important messages about how Indigenous people feel. I also enjoyed the final project, in which I made a movie poster. As an artist, I liked having the freedom to draw, and I liked creating a plot that illustrated a serious topic in a comedic way.
Do you think that Native rap has the power to educate others on Indigenous life?
I really do. I think that if Native rap was played on popular radio stations or big awards shows, then more people would hear the messages and stories about the real lives of Indigenous people, which is usually covered up by the media. And since the music is catchy, I don't have any concern that people wouldn't want to listen to it.
In reference to the movie poster, why did you choose to create an action comedy for such a serious topic?
I wanted to create a concept for a film where the audience realizes how misleading whitewashing and Indigenous stereotypes are in the media, but also to understand that Aboriginal people can have strengths like any other person, like being very intelligent or even being a superhero. I felt like the only way that most people would want to go watch a movie with this content is if it was a comedy. And by the way, every Indigenous person I've ever met has a great sense of humor.
Which assignments were the most eye-opening?
For one, this assignment. By reflecting on my knowledge prior to taking this course compared to now, I can say that I have grown an amazing amount. Infomercial number D in the news was also eye-opening. By comparing APTN News with CTV News, I realized that popular news networks view Indigenous people as not important, since CTV did not mention an Indigenous topic in the entire broadcast.
Did any assignments make you feel like you could make a difference?
I felt like I was making a difference with commercial break number 5, the Red Cloth campaign, because hopefully my prayers were heard as a way to end the traumas, and others would be inspired to join the campaign by seeing my red cloth. Most of all, I showed that I support Indigenous people.
How do the things you learned in this course affect your daily life?
I find it difficult to watch television or see advertisements without being critical. I finally find myself saying, "Where are the Indigenous people?" I also feel more confident celebrating my Indigenous heritage, because I have learned that many negative Indigenous stereotypes are false.
Are you hopeful in positive change regarding Indigenous images in the media?
I am hopeful. I believe that if more people take Indigenous studies courses like this one, then Indigenous truths will be known. And if more Indigenous people are positively included in the media, stigmas will fade away. For example, a step in the right direction was Lauren Cardinal performing the comedic role of police officer Davis Quinton on the Canadian comedy Corner Gas. Throughout this course, I've been surprised, disappointed, embarrassed, and become hopeful for the future. Sometimes the assignments were difficult for me, but by sticking with it, I learned valuable information, not only about the under- and misrepresentation of Indigenous people in the media, but also the steps being made to encourage inclusion and positive images of Indigenous people in the media. From native rap to the Aboriginal People's Television Network, people including myself can gain a positive and realistic concept of Indigenous people. This course has sparked an interest in me to further learn about Indigenous images in the media and to teach these lessons to the next generation. For the last time signing off, in INDG 3102, this has been Poe. I hope you enjoyed my course story.